God, that's... Good lord, that's like saying, yeah, this gun can kill you if you shoot yourself with it. Oh! Good thing I'm going to point at myself and shoot myself with it. The fuck? I have anything that's sharp or possibly could be deadly, of course it can do something. Kenan took that and rushed up the stairs. He already knew instinctively. He should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps it was already. Old lady, pick up the pace. Exactly, hurry it up. Kumasawa eventually caught up with him, gasping for breath with both hands on her knees. When Kenan changed his grip on the wire cutters and looked up at the door, he let out an ah, struck speechless. The fuck? Why did we leave? That wouldn't be the noise I'd make. Holy fuck! I'm getting the fuck out of this place! Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. That was no surprise, because right there, on the door, just like the magic circle that had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storehouse, there was another eerie shape drawn with a blood-like pain. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle, because unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside it, but a slightly more complicated geometrical shape. However, these strange characters filling in the gaps weren't from the alphabet. Were the same kind as the ones on that magic circle on the shutter. Oh, good. More time for Maria to tell me how it's fucking terrible. But the thing that had Kenan struck speechless wasn't how eerie the magic circle was. It was that something like this hadn't been here a short while ago. First, he had taken a trip back to the kitchen. After that, he'd gone to the storeroom to grab a tool and headed right back. Put those together, and it wouldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone add something this creepy during that period of time? They're really fucking skilled. As though it had just been drawn. Almost like the door itself was bleeding. Several unsettling vertical red lines slowly dripped down, getting longer and longer. Kumasawa, shut the fuck up! Kumasawa's knees gave way and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, then Kenan surely would have wanted to. Okay, so maybe my locked door thing wouldn't have actually helped. Yeah, that scorpion charm? Hey, I'm stealing it from your mother. Bye. Kenan gulped and then readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to this disturbing magic circle, and he really didn't want to touch the steadily dripping substance that looked like blood. But if he didn't get close, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting this cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter up against the chain. He then pressed with all of his might, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he anticipated. The cut chain fell into 2 separate parts, which continued to clang as they swayed back and forth. Another one? What the fuck? Stop sending us letters. This is a waste of fucking envelopes. It looked like Kumasawa had also noticed the western envelope at the bottom of the door, and that sealing wax that had been sealed with the head's ring. Kenan hesitated for a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room, but he eventually decided on filling his original purpose. I thought they took the letter, actually. My bad. I honestly thought, because he said he picked it up, I wouldn't have assumed he just put it back down. I would have just put it, like, you know, into my pocket. Kenan pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. This was so he wouldn't leave fingerprints on the door. If his worst fears were realized, the police would want to investigate this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to more clearly hear the sound of the television, which had been seeping out faintly this whole time. Ava was lying face up on the bed. On the bed with her shoes still on. Kumasawa, who had fearfully entered after Cannon, and who was hiding behind his back, screamed a short eek, and again when she saw Ava like that. Ava's shoes had been the first part of her that Cannon had seen, so the oddness of wearing shoes in bed was the first thing that to strike him. But when Ava's head shifted into his line of sight, oh god, it's gonna be like horribly disfigured, right? Cannon couldn't help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Ava's forehead, something had been placed? Something was growing there. What? No. Right in the center of her forehead. Was it an old-fashioned knife? That or some weapon like it was sticking out. Oh god! The fuck? Ew. At the base of where it was stuck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way once more, and she sank down on the floor. Her mouth kept flapping open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Ava was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Hideyoshi, where the fuck are you? Both eyes were open wide, and the image of the person who killed her must have been burned into them. I imagine both of them are dead, actually. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. Even though her forehead was the last place where they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes from it. Yeah, it's like a fucking car crash. Train wreck. Right there, the weapon was stuck into Ava's forehead, standing almost perfectly upright. And on the handle was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see on an ordinary weapon. That thing could be summed up with one word. Well, with the word occult. It was a vulgar object with a design that might have been of some demon. Thank you for asking that question. Ava was on the top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking a backwards glance at Kumasawa, still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. That's where I would have gone immediately. At that moment he opened the door, he was greeted by steam and the sound of the shower. Oh, he's dead in the shower. That's odd. The bathroom was of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. Oh god. Oh god! Oh, I did not actually need to see an image of it. That waterproof curtain was half open. Damn. That is one interesting knife, though. And lying tumbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked with both eyes open. Oh god. And pointing right at Cannon. Oh god, oh what the fuck? Oh, don't do that. That just weirds me out. Just like Ava, a weapon with a demon-like design was stuck into his forehead. Since his head had been under the shower's hot water this whole time, his face wasn't half covered and filthy with blood like Ava's had been. But the sight of him dead was still taking a shower was tragic enough. Just then, they heard Natsui's voice coming from the hall. She was probably coming with Genji. Yeah, that's what I would have been asking. True. As Natsui said that, she picked up the envelope. And before checking its contents, she entered the room itself where she found Ava dead. I don't care. still don't have to show him dead like that. I mean, I really get the point. It's really fucked up. Oh, thank you. Kenan gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. Oh no, the person that turned it on was Hideyoshi. I mean, you don't have to do that. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap off. It really looked like he'd been attacked while taking a shower. There was still a small splash of blood clinging on to the white bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast. Well, yeah, it just happened, probably. Someone has to be really fucking strong. Nanjo checked their pulse and their pupils, making certain of their death once more. There's a goddamn knife sticking out of their fucking forehead. Come on, dude. I need to check the pupils. Oh, nope. Yep, still dead. Pulse? Nope, still dead. I mean, come on. As Kenneth watched this business-like treatment, he thought, couldn't you tell I'd glance at their dead without doing all that? Yeah. Nanjo thought about removing the weapon. No, and I wouldn't. But then he decided better to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alone. But a close inspection of the base showed that it didn't have a blade. In fact, it was more conical than blade-shaped. He noticed that rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handled spear, something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Rather than a short spear, you might call it a thick ice pick. Oh, God. At any rate, after looking at this scene, no further words were needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such eerily designed weapons were originally made for. Nor was it necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Natsui, hoping to escape the repulsive steam filling the bathroom as she could, covered her mouth with a handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn their image into her eyes. If she looked any longer, that image would surely remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising urge to vomit was exactly the same feeling she had had that morning at the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsui couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room, fighting that sickness in her stomach. God, George is just gonna be like, oh, dead on the inside now. I mean, he's gonna know eventually. But they could tell that those fiercely racing footsteps in the hallway belonged to George, even before he came dashing into the room. George and the other children had been waiting in the parlor. However, when they saw Genji speak to Natsui, when they saw her turn pale and fly out of the parlor, they felt a sense of foreboding. I wouldn't have gone. I would have been like, it's probably not the best if I go. I don't want to see someone else die. And when they saw a large group of people gathered around the guest room, they were sure of it. Yeah, that's when you just hold them back and think, nope. No. You don't want to go in there, buddy. Maria's probably just sitting there laughing. Nope, not yet. We wouldn't be here if they weren't. If they were. I have no idea. Thanks. Cannon didn't have to say anything. George's scream after he ran into the room told them everything they needed to know. Natsui touches George's shoulder with her hand, but he violently shook her off. George fell over beside Natsui, Ava, and buried his face in the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again. He already lost his fiance, now he lost his parents. He's dead. He's just fucking dead inside. He's a corpse walking. Battler had his back against the wall of the hallway, and was covering his eyes with his right hand and weeping without restraint. Was he gonna blame himself because he said that she needs to kill him in no way a human could? Oh no, he's just like talking about how fucking terrible his life is right now. And what already said. Lost his fiance, and then lost his parents. It's just fucking brutal. Of course, it's sad whenever anyone dies, no matter who it is. But to Battler, those left alone by the deaths of others were far more worthy of pity. Everyone here now had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one to be pitied. However, George's pain was far greater than everyone else's. I don't think you can quantify. He's lost the most people, but it's not fair to say he has more pain than the other people because he's lost more. Because you can't really quantify the pain in general. You can't put it in terms because it's relative to everyone. So, I mean, he's lost the most people, that's true, but to say he has more pain is to kind of putting everyone else's death at a lower tier than what he's been through. It's fair to say that he's lost the most people, and it's fair to say that he most likely is in the most pain. But to just say it outright is, I don't know, because you don't know how much Jessica loved her father. He can speak from his own experience, but he can't speak for Jessica in a sense. If she said that he must be going through so much more than I went through, then you could say his pains were greater. Natsui lost her husband. I mean, it's just a lot of things that you can't really just say without knowing. Because losses affect everyone differently. Pain affects people differently. Probably not. Maria tried to comfort Battler in a mechanical sound in her voice. Battler violently wiped his tears.
ひっくり返すぜ。明日までこの島から逃げられねえのは野郎も同じだ。しょんべんちびりそうになりながら逃げ隠れするのは俺たちじゃねえ。暴いてやるぜ。必ずだ。
There you go.
明日までに。いや、明日なんか待たねえ。今夜だ。今夜中にその胸ぐらを掴み上げてやる。
That's good. I like the determination.
とにかくこの部屋は警察が来るまでこのままにして施錠します。いいですね。
Nope. No objections. Anatsui announced it as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, it would have been George, but he looked as though he'd shed enough tears. George nodded slightly, and still facing away from the others. And when he stood up, everyone else agreed too. Natsui still hadn't opened that western envelope of the family head that she'd picked up. But now that they decided to leave this room, she decided to unseal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. As soon as they walked into the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something out of place, or maybe sensed something strange.
答えよ。マリアもわかるか。こりゃ何の匂いだよ。ひでえ匂いだぜ。
Let me guess, Kenzo's sitting at the fucking table. When everyone sniffed the air, they did notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway. One that smell that none of them had smelled until then. Oh, because they left the stuff cooking, probably.
私ちょっと厨房を見てきます。火はちゃんと消したはずなんですよ。
Probably not. After noticing a burnt smell, it was natural that Kumasawa, who had just been using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that her own slip-up had caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away.
カノ、熊沢と行きなさい。一人にさせないように。
はい。
After nodding at Genji's order, Kennen followed after her. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in other directions as well.
臭い。
Thanks, Maria.
これは確かに鼻が曲がりそうな匂いですね。しかし換気のために窓を開けてもいいものか。
Natsui was reluctant to open up the windows in a situation where self-defense was so important.
換気扇を回させましょう。窓を開ける必要はないと思います。
ジョージの兄貴、話しかけても大丈夫かよ。犯人を探す相談なら構わないよ。
It seemed that George had managed to climb out of the abyss of sorrow. All that filled his chest now was the quiet flame of hatred towards the culprit who had stolen the lives of the one he loved and his beloved parents.
部屋にはチェーンがかかってた。さっき構造を見たが、とても外から細工できる代物じゃねえ。つまり完璧な密室だったってことだ。
Yep. So I guess witches exist, unless they decide to open the yeah, no. There's literally no other way, unless they pull that there's a secret compartment in the room.
そうなるね。バラ庭園の倉庫の時は、シャッターの鍵を使用人室からこっそりと持ち出したのだろうとか。
But there's no way to fake getting. You can't get past the chain.
あるいは複製の鍵を持っていた可能性とか、いくつか方法が想像できた。
Or at least get past it and then re-lock it with the chain.
でも、チェーンは違う。チェーンは一般に浸透した施錠方法の中で、最もシンプルに密室を構築できる。
チェーンだけは物理的に破壊しない限り、外からはどうにもならないぜ。
Yep.
じゃあつまり、犯人は扉からは出入りしなかったってことなのか。
こりゃ面白いや。 つい数時間ほど前にも扉以外でどうやって部屋から出入りしたのかってみんなで騒いだ気がするぜ。
Back then, we were all losing our cool, wondering how grandfather had disappeared from his room. The receipt that Aunt Ava stuck in the door on a whim proved that the door had remained sealed. And since Aunt Natsui was the only person to enter or exit during the set time, she was under suspicion. As long as all those windows were locked, there's no other way to get in. Aunt Ava proposed a theory about how Aunt Natsui might have thrown grandfather out the window and left by the door herself. So this door is much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain. The window had been locked from the inside and the bodies had been inside the room. This time it really had been, without exaggeration, a true closed room. That's right. If you include grandfather's disappearance, 3 cases have occurred, and all 3 times the door had been the point of interest. Unless, of course, this one where you say that someone was hiding, and even at that point I don't think is even possible. Because, 1, they would have had to been in the room before Ava and Hideyoshi got in there, and remained unnoticed until that happened, when they killed him and the room was locked. Then they would have had to hid until everyone left again, which is definitely possible, but I don't think it happened. It could have, though. They could have been under the bed, but it's not any of these people because they were all busy. They weren't all alone at the time. The first was the shutter. There was a key in the servant room, and we assumed someone knew about that. But this can't really be called a closed room. The next was the door sealed by the receipt. However, Aunt Natsui entered the room, so if grandfather had left through the window or been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the window before escaping. Or, like my theory, grandfather could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated with a handful of desperate tricks. In that sense, you really can't call this one a closed room either. And now we have the door sealed with the door chain. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first hadn't been a closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second had been a closed room because Aunt Natsui could be suspected. But this time no one can be suspected. This was the perfect closed room because the door chain formed a seal that blocked everyone equally well.
なら、犯人は室内に入らずに犯行に及んだ。
They either didn't enter the room, i.e. it's a witch, or the person was waiting in the room. Is a regular 19th person. So either it's a witch or it's just a normal person. Which, I don't know what's worse.
部屋の外から何らかの方法で。
確かにチェーンである以上、人が通れるほどは開けなくても多少の隙間を開けることができる。ノックして顔を覗かせたところを襲うとか。
No.
いや、甘いか。
Because he wouldn't have gotten in the shower with a fucking spear dagger thing in his fucking skull. Same with Ava.
甘いよな。エヴァおばさんの遺体が扉のすぐそばだったならそれも考えたぜ。だがエヴァおばさんは部屋の奥のベッドの上、しかも秀吉おじさんはバスルームだった。チェーンの隙間からでは姿を見ることもできねえし、手を伸ばすこともできねえ。ちくしょう、全然ダメだぜ。さっぱりだ。
You asked her if you wanted to make a completely room impossible for humans to kill in. Something was tugging softly at my sleeve. Fuck off, Maria. It was Maria.